As a shock to no one, it's revealed by Bob Woodward that Donald Trump is still palling around with Vladimir Putin because he thinks they're friends. And it's been further revealed that during the COVID pandemic, when the world was shut down and COVID tests were scarce, Donald Trump mailed Vladimir Putin COVID tests for his personal use. And Putin knows just how dumb Trump is. He advised him, now listen, Donald, don't tell anybody that you sent these to me because it will hurt you. It won't hurt me, but it will hurt you. That's how badly Donald Trump is on Putin's leash. But let's hear Kamala address this with Howard Stern yesterday.
Did you ever think in your lifetime you would see a Republican not supporting NATO and wanting to disassemble NATO? I mean, what world are we living in?
And
this
NATO,
is so weird.
NATO, which is the greatest military alliance the world has ever known.
It's what my father's general
strength.
Yeah.
That is strength to embrace that alliance as America, as Americans, and he would walk away because he admires dictators.
Well, what did you
more
think?
Than he does.
What did you think of this thing that just came out today? That Bob Woodward's book was saying that Trump was sending COVID tests to Putin, and Putin said, "Don't let anyone know." I mean, what is going on? What do you make of that?
So I actually said it even in the debate. I believe that Donald Trump has this desire to be a dictator. He admires strong men, and he gets played by them because he thinks that they're his friends.
Yeah.
And they are manipulating him full time and manipulating him by flattery.
Yeah.
And with favor. And so in the midst, to your point, as reported by Bob Woodward, in the height of the pandemic, and remember, and your listeners will remember, people were dying by the hundreds.
Yeah.
Everybody was scrambling to get these kits, the tests, the COVID test kits.
You couldn't get them.
Couldn't get them.
Right.
Couldn't get them anywhere.
Right.
And this guy who is president of the United States is sending them to Russia, to a murderous dictator for his personal use?
That is outrageous.
It's outrageous. And I would say it was shocking, except he's been saying this, the quiet part out loud, since he asked for Putin or Russia to get Hillary's emails.
Right.
He has no boundaries when it comes to incompetence and self-interest. And he thinks that he and Putin are like buddy-buddy. And Putin's thinking, don't you know when he hangs up the phone with him, he's like, this is the dumbest motherfucker on the planet. He is the easiest mark on the planet. I mean, don't you think he thinks that?
Well, I think it goes even deeper. All of the world's dictators are talking. Mm-hmm. You've got Kim Jong-un, you've got Vladimir Putin, and you have Viktor Orbán. And conservative Americans are very interested in Viktor Orbán because he's created an autocracy where all of the power is consolidated with him. And Viktor Orbán came to the United States and he did not visit President Biden, which breaks all protocol. But he went immediately to Mar-a-Lago to meet with Donald Trump. And the reason he's doing that is because for these autocrats and for these dictators, getting inside American democracy was never possible until Donald Trump. And they have been engaging Trump as an asset for years and cultivating him. And Viktor Orbán plays a little bridge role between Russia and Trump. And Viktor Orbán goes back and forth. But guess where Viktor went right after Mar-a-Lago? He went to the Heritage Foundation.
I did not know that.
He went to the Heritage Foundation for a private meeting. And everybody knows that the Heritage Foundation now has authored Project 2025, which basically describes a post-constitutional America and also is riddled with Nazi-style propaganda where they demonize immigrants and they want to do mass deportations. Well, what happens when you deport a bunch of people? You have to get them together and concentrate them somewhere. And they have written this down, printed it out. Not only are they going after birth control and gay rights and all of the things, they have said that they are employing a policy of radical incrementalism. And I want you to think about that. That is that they are playing the long game. They got Roe overturned, but in no way is that the end of it. Listen to this clip from the sociopath who has killed a dog and has talked about a second American revolution that he hopes will be bloodless if the left allows him to just be a complete maniac. Listen to what Kevin Roberts says.
A philosophy toward public policy change that I call radical incrementalism. When I was doing public policy in Texas, I would call this the enchilada theory. I'm a big boy. I don't want half an enchilada. But if I can go get one in a piece of legislation and come back and get the other half next session, sign me up for that all day as a political conservative. Radical incrementalism. Go get 50% if you can. I'm just going to let you know, doing conservative public policy, that's rare. Although it has happened this year. We've had 8 states that have passed universal school choice. At Heritage, we consider that the whole enchilada. Other states are passing half. Texas will probably pass half next month. You put that on any policy, even apply it to abortion, even apply it to marriage, apply it to religious liberty. And maybe you're not getting half or a quarter or 10% of the enchilada, you're getting a morsel. But at least you got the morsel. The point is to tie that to a strategy that will let you get more of that enchilada.
Some say financial crime is victimless, but that definitely isn't the case, especially when it ends in murder. You need to check out Money Crimes, a new show hosted by best-selling author and entrepreneur Nicole Lappin. Money Crimes is about the world's biggest financial scandals and how they can spiral out of control in ways you'd never expect. From cunning Ponzi schemes to cutthroat politics and even murderous con artists, you'll learn that the finance world is more dangerous than you ever imagined, and most importantly, how to protect yourself from it. Money Crimes is a Crime House original powered by Pave Studios. New episodes release every Thursday. Just search for Money Crimes. That's MoneyCrimes. So there he is, the president of the Heritage Foundation, talking about abortion was just the first step because it's radical incrementalism. After that, they want to propose like banning birth control, contraceptions. They absolutely want to remove all discrimination protections that LBJ signed into law. This is the most dangerous movement, quote unquote, think tank in America right now, because they have written a 900-page manifesto, and they meet privately with autocrats and anti-democratic dictators. And they are launching an education initiative. And you and I both know recently some friends of ours that live in Oklahoma City notified us. There's a business in Oklahoma called Citizen House, based in Oklahoma City. And they rolled out, come join us this evening for Engage America, an education initiative led by the Heritage Foundation, where they are bringing in, quote, dignitaries from Washington embassies. Well, as we know, Hungary is intimately involved with the Heritage Foundation. So basically, you have the Heritage Foundation trying to infiltrate communities with these anti-democratic, anti-American rhetoric, and they're cosplaying like they're the State Department. And all anybody has to do is just read a glimpse of Project 2025, and you know how cruel, the recreational cruelty of this organization. On the one hand, they talk about traditional family, and that in and of itself is so exclusionary because what does a traditional family look like? I know a lot of quote unquote traditional families where you have a husband and wife and kids, and they're completely dysfunctional, horribly messed up. And then I know some people that maybe have blended families or two gay parents that are absolutely functioning and amazing. So it is a 1950s controlling style form of government. But it even goes so much darker than that. They want to consolidate all power with the most incompetent man this country has ever seen, Donald Trump. But I think it's worse than that. I think behind Trump, they're using him as a Trojan horse to get in, to consolidate power, to grab it up, and then it's Handmaid's Tale City. This is the American Taliban.
Absolutely. And what's so amazing to me is how many quote unquote conservative Republicans that were tear down that wall with Reagan and, hardline foreign policy people that are now, we've seen where people that go to Trump rallies pick Putin over Biden on who they'd vote for president. J.D. Vance, the vice presidential candidate on the ticket under Donald Trump, says, who cares about Ukraine? It's fine. Because they, like you said, they want to consolidate power. I did not know that Viktor Orbán went to the Heritage Foundation. It doesn't surprise me. They're two peas in a pod, but that is so disturbing. And there is nobody that plays the long game like fundamental evangelical Christians. They are long game city. And when I look at the Heritage Foundation, this is what I see. You've got white men in power. They want to come after women over their bodies. They want to make people dumb by taking away the Department of Education. They want to take care of any protections or racial protections that people might have in marginalized community. They want to get rid of the National Weather Service. I mean, we're in the middle of hurricane season.
The National Endowment for Arts. They want to get rid of.
They want to get rid of all of it. But the common denominator is power and control. And if you look, they want to, round up migrants. If you look at the people in the Heritage Foundation, they're white Christian nationalists, full stop. They're not even trying to cover it up.
Also, in my research, I discovered that, the Heritage Foundation is a think tank that puts out policy ideas all the time. And they have all these crazy, non-mainstream, anti-democratic thoughts. Guess where all of this propaganda ends up? On state-funded Russian news networks.
Right.
It doesn't disseminate here in the United States because it's wildly unpopular with the general public. But Putin picks it up. So here's what we have. We have all of the world's dictators colluding together. And past Republican leaders would have never allowed a dictator like Vladimir Putin or Viktor Orbán to penetrate the center of American politics. But through Trump, they're able to access it. And players like the Heritage Foundation, these rich white men that think they're so powerful because of their bank accounts. Mm-hmm. And now they're penetrating these think tanks that really you have a lot of incredibly broken, mentally unstable, anti-intellectual people that are trying to penetrate communities like ours here in Oklahoma City. And I want our listener to know that this is an anecdotal form of evidence, but Oklahoma City is about a 50-50 city. It's totally purple. And I share this story because I want our viewer to know that a lot of members of the Citizen House were outraged. And there is a resistance. Even in ruby red Oklahoma City, there are people who do not watch Fox News, who are intellectually curious and who are pro-democracy and who give a shit about marginalized people, who think that the Republican Party has turned into a Nazi-style propaganda machine that wants to cause suffering. And there is some resistance here. And I just want to say that we always must resist every ounce of every policy that comes out of the Heritage Foundation. Absolutely. We have to stand together. They want to do away with no-fault divorce, which leaves women prey and vulnerable to homicide, to abuse. This is an absolute policy of the American Taliban, and it has to be stood firmly against. And to the brave citizens of Oklahoma that stood up against this, I commend you. And that's why we're highlighting this, because when you have dark forces at play and when you have a microphone, the best thing that you can do is put light on it. Mm-hmm. You have to shine light in this darkness, and it cannot be normalized, because what the American right wing is trying to do is called the Orbanization of America. And that is Viktor Orbán, the Orbanization of America. Imagine the American Republican Party looks to Hungary for inspiration, not Hungary looking to America for inspiration. So we will always expose the nefarious deeds of the Heritage Foundation. I encourage everyone to join a resistance that you will not allow a Heritage Foundation a seat at the table, because their ideas are so off a cliff and cause so much suffering for women, for marginalized groups, discrimination protections for the LGBTQIA plus community. And we here at I've Had It Podcast and IHIP News will fight with every fiber of our body and use every microphone we have to promote democracy and to shine a light on the darkness that is the Heritage Foundation, its sociopathic leader. And you can go into cities all you want to and cosplay that you are the State Department, but every single shred of objective evidence points back to you being ass deep in alligators with autocrats and dictators.
Absolutely.
All right. I think we're feeling ambitious, and Pumps has prepared an episode for this afternoon. It is election season. We're going to try to drop 2 IHIPs a day. Please support us by subscribing to our channel, and we will see you guys later. It's so